Hello, Bob here. Welcome to Portugal This week we put some gutters up in between the rain showers, do a bit of baking and a few other odd jobs. So this morning we've got some clear weather, so I'm just going to start doing the guttering down the back of Ellie Rosie's. We want as much water away from the back of the house as possible. Obviously gutters will stop the rain just falling down onto the earth here. Although I have dug some channels out and it's improved it a lot. We'll get the gutters going and then we'll grid the land even more if we can. Couple of problems we've got with the gutters. One is obviously we need to get them up and level, and the brackets are a little bit tight here. So I'm having to stretch them a little bit. They did do a bigger one, but the bigger one was quite a lot bigger and I don't think it'd have bent down as well. So I think widening them is better. And also the angle, what they're going to sit, will need changing a little bit just to keep it in line. So first things first is I'm just going to get a couple up, just sat on, just to see, one, whether the gap's wide enough here, because the tiles have a lip on here, and then whether the gutter's going to sit at the right angle. So it'll go there near enough, but as you can see it's probably miles off angle. I have bent one already, I'll just see what that one's like. They're only put together very loose, I've only done them finger tight at the moment, so and I've put that one on wrong way around. Just swap that over quickly. Other reason for doing them finger tight. So I know they're not positioned height wise right, it's just a test to get sort of whether they'll go onto the tile and whether the angle is going to be somewhere near right. So they all need just bending, they all need bending that way a little bit. So what I'm going to go do is I'll get one set roughly where I want it. In fact I might do two, and then if I get the angle about right, then I can go down and transfer that to a few more as we go. So what I'll just do is quickly just give that a bend. See, when they're up they'll just slide up the bracket, so I can have it as the gutter as tight as I want to the tiles. Obviously that'll help with the slope because they'll need to slope down as I go. So I think that one's around about square. That one's not. I can get it back off the tile. So that one's okay. This one just wants a bit more bending it. They are fairly stiff, so I'll probably need a tool when I get round there, but it'd have been better with a bench vise or something like that, but that still wants to be in a bit more. Yeah, so we'll take them around and we'll spend them a bit more to shape. So at the moment I'm just bending a load of these brackets. Got quite a few to do. I'm using one what I've already shaped and just measuring it up, you can see roughly how far I'm having to just bend him. So it's just a pair of big water pump pliers, just makes it a little easier. And I'm having to open this end up a little bit as well because of the ridge on the tiles. And again, it's just a little bend, don't take too much. I was doing them by hand, but when you've got 60 to do, it'll make my hand sore after a while, I would think, so just nice and easy. Just to bend somewhere near shape. I am bothered about being too accurate because the tiles will be exactly the same. I'll have them to adjust anyway when I get round there, I would think. But this is just the rough startup. Then when I get them bent to shape, I've got these white brackets to put on there. So I'll just carry on and do a few more of those. So I'm now just going to just fit these white brackets onto the metal brackets. Just nut, bolt and washer. We've got about 20 of them to do, so just do a couple. As you can see, it's just finger tight. Because they'll need adjusting later. So I'll just crack on with that a little bit, and then when I've got these done and we're putting them on the roof, I'll show you the next step. So I'm just going to start putting these brackets up. I've counted along the tiles, and every 3 1/4 tiles it wants a bracket, roughly. So there'll be like every 4th tile will be four tiles, the rest of them will be 3. We'll see how that goes. And so I haven't tightened any of these up, so we'll see what we do. That one I've widened too much. That shouldn't be too much of a hassle. We should be able to just crush that back up. But for now I'll use a different one. Here's one I made earlier. Up. Yeah, so that'll be there, like that. As you see, they're only finger tight. I'm not tightening them too much. I have made some little plastic pads to go under the screws as well. I don't know whether I showed you that the other day. Just to spread the weight a little from being a pointy screw. I haven't put one on that one, I'm just going to do it now. I'm just seeing where what they sort of look like as 3/4. So next tile will be, that hanger will be somewhere there. All right, 1, 2, 3, there. Yep, that should something like. And there. Yeah, I don't actually like these hangers on these tiles, but yeah, that's all we can get, so that's the way it's going to have to be. I'd prefer them sort of sitting squarer. That don't look particularly secure to me, but having said that, it will stop it pulling off. Yeah, they're just a bit of an odd angle. So yeah, I don't know whether you can see that, because the tiles have a lip on them. Yeah, the brackets aren't going to sit very nice. You can probably see with that one better, if I get it to lip in underneath the bracket, then the screws are at quite an angle. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to rethink that. So just as a thought, instead of going over the tile in the middle here, what I've thought is if I go under the tile, if I get that off, into the gap there. It's gone quite nicely on that one, but for some reason this one won't go. Maybe the screw's too high. Yeah, so if I do that, then I do have ratchet spanners and things like that where I can just get in there and tighten them up. Might not have to go in fully so that the water actually comes into the gutter. Because if I go fully in, there's not a lot of drop there between. Yeah, we'll have a look at that. That seems a better idea. Yeah, so we'll probably go with that. I'm just going to see what it clamps up like. So I can go quite a lot further down with that and then slide it on. I'm just wondering whether I have to tighten my slots back up in the U-shaped bit, just to make it a bit. So if I made that a little bit tighter, it'd be a lot easier to get to the bolt when I get in there. So I'm just going to go and do that as well.
So this morning Ellie Rose is going to plant some carrots. So we're putting them 6mm deep. And how far apart, Ellie Rose?
About 1/2 inch, it said.
Okay, it's a bit windy, so I think it's just going to be a bit hit and miss. We've popped some sand in with just soil, because earlier in the year we did it with compost, and it was far too rich. so the carrots kind of were all funny shapes, and they had like roots on the actual carrot themselves. I know the carrot is a root, but then they had like little white roots coming off, hairy roots, and apparently it's because the soil's too rich. I think that should be all right. Yeah, do you want to just, let's have a look what sort of carrots they are. Does it have the name on?
Because you tore off the name.
Oh. Yeah. So that's what we're popping in. So we're going to have another go at carrots, because we eat loads of carrots. We eat them through the summer in salad, and we eat them in the winter time as well. So we've just sorted a little section in one of the beds out. We've got that one to go through and get all the stones out of. So yeah, we've got the carrots planted now in this side, and then in this quarter of the bed we need to go through all of this and get all the stones out, and then we'll add sand to that, and then in about 2 weeks time we'll plant some more carrots in there, and then we'll continue down the bed. Hopefully that'll mean that we've always got a supply of carrots if they're successful. So now Ellie Rosie's just going to give them a little sprinkle of water. I think you're just missing a bit right near the edge there, that's it. Yeah, let's not flood them.
I'm going to say it's already quite damp.
Yeah. So I think that's it for planting today. So we're just harvesting the green peppers. Really don't think they're going to turn red now. And then we'll chop them up, put them in the freezer and use them for soups.
So I'm just putting the first bit of gutter up. It's really just to test where things are hanging and how things are going. So I haven't tightened all the brackets or anything. What I'm after is this end, because the roof comes in, I'm just trying to figure out how the gutters are going to sit. Obviously with the gutter being straight, it's going to stop about there, or where it is, and then the next one's going to come in, but it's going to come in and leave a little gap, but because it's this side of it I don't think it'll matter. I can't figure anything else out to do with that yet, but if I do, I shall put it in the film a little bit later. I did think about cutting the gutter at a little angle, but then I don't think the end caps and things will go on it right, so it's just a little bit of experimentation at the moment. It's the first time I've done any guttering, so we'll see how we go. Just sit in there, be nice. Whew. I tell you what, that's quite good. Bloody hell. Right. this bit of video I'm actually showing you that there's a joint going in this piece here, and I'm going to put some silicone sealant in between the gutter pipe and the clamp. Hopefully some of it will squash to the inside. And then on this piece of video I'm just showing that I was going to smooth the sealant down on the inside just to make a nice smooth joint so the water flows nice and easy. So I'm just going along now, tightening things up and levelling as we go. Or not levelling, but you know, leaving a little bit of fall. I'm using a spirit level, not a string line. Simply I haven't got enough string to go all the way to the end. And as long as I keep a little bit of drop on the spirit level, it should be okay. One of my biggest problems, because I've tried to hide my bolts, is just tightening them up a little bit. Most of them are okay, but there's the odd one or two what the tiles are very tight up to. Well, it's one of them, you know. So I'm just working my way down the gutters, just levelling still. Where these joints are is a little awkward, I must say. I don't know what's doing that, but that bracket isn't quite sitting right, so I'll have a look at that. But what I'm going to do is level the rest out and then come back, because I'll end up doing it 2 or 3 times anyway probably. So I've just been trying to think of different ways to cut a round pipe, trying to keep the end as square as possible, and I've come up with this idea. The idea was, because it's a downpipe, is to use one of the downpipe brackets. It's got a nice square edge on it, and if I use that I can just make a start and then follow it through. So hopefully it'll make a nice square cut. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is just bring this down, bring a down pipe off this pipe, like so, to meet up with the pipe I've got down here, which hopefully, for a temporary, we'll just take the water away out through the gully, which I'll show you in a second. So what I'm going to do is just put a couple of screws in there just to hold it. It is only temporary, because what I want to do is later on is turn this round so it comes down the wall, down here, and then straight down and into a gully, which will into a concrete gutter, which will run out to the gully what runs outside the building. I'll just hold it on, saves gluing it and then throwing them away later. At least I can use it again when I change the direction. They're only very small screws, so hopefully nothing going down the gutter will get stuck on them, but if it does, it's easy enough to get out of the way. So I've just put one in here, one in there, just to hold this lot together. It's a little bit flexy because I'm trying to take it through a gap in the gate, behind the gate, which I'll show you in a moment. So that's the piping. I know it looks a bit silly, but the reason for it, as you can see, is all the rubble what's still in here, and the bread oven. So I'm going to have to move all this lot around, so I can actually run the pipe down and out. So, and the reason why the pipe's so long is it's got to come into this gully. As I say, when we get sorted, I'll run the other gutter on the back of the adega, which is that building to the left, the roof to the left, what hasn't got a gutter on it at the moment. The pipe off there will probably run down into a Y pipe. It'll join up to a pipe going down from the pipe, what's the existing pipe what's there now, down to the floor, and obviously two roofs will run into one gully and then out to here. That's my idea, but obviously it's got to be done either summertime or when I get a chance to move this rubble.
Hola, boa tarde. So this afternoon we are just about ready to go shopping, so we don't really have much in the house, but that's task for tomorrow. So just so that we have something sweet for dessert, and probably around lunchtime tomorrow, I'm just making a really simple shortbread recipe. It is going to be a tiny bit of an experiment because we are very nearly out of plain flour. So I am using bread flour instead. So there is just a slight consistency difference. It shouldn't matter too much as this recipe doesn't rise or anything. So I am hoping it'll go well, but we will see how it goes. So as I said, it's a very simple recipe. You just need, I believe, 9 ounces of plain flour. I think that's around 250 grams. You need 3 ounces of sugar and 6 ounces of margarine. So to the bowl, you just add your flour and your sugar. Give it just a quick stir, just to combine the two of them. And then add in your margarine. Like most recipes I do, this is a rubbed in method. So it can be done by hand, but I'm just going to leave it up to the Mr. Chef whisk. So I'll just pop that on and I will keep checking it sporadically and mixing it just to make sure that everything does get quite nicely combined. So that should come together into a nice dough consistency. In the meantime, I do already have prepped a greased baking tray, and I also have the oven preheating to 160 degrees Celsius on the fan oven setting. Our oven is a little bit slower, which is why I'm keeping it to the exact oven setting and not turning it down just a little with it being a fan oven. So I will be back in a few minutes to check on the dough. So it's been maybe 10 minutes and the dough is now completely ready, as you can probably see. It's got the same sort of consistency as Play-Doh really, so it's sticking to itself, but it's not sticking to my hands. My hands are not greased or floured, so it is just sticking to itself. So I'm just gonna throw it out onto a clean surface and ball it all together. And I'm just rolling them into balls, roughly the same size. I'm never good at eyeballing things, so they are going to be slightly off. I just noticed you probably couldn't see what I was doing from that angle, so I'm just changing angles so you guys can see. So at the moment I'm just rolling them into balls, roughly the right size. Can be a little big, or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that should have made about 15 cookies in total. I probably would have made more if I'd done smaller cookies, but I know exactly what we're like, so we probably will eat cookies that size at least. Just like Mum did with the oat cookies and the olive oil cookies. I'm just pressing them down a little bit. I'm trying to keep some thickness. They are shortbread cookies, so they won't thin or spread or anything, so however thick I make them is going to be the size they end up staying at roughly. And it doesn't say to do this on the recipe, but me and Mum both tend to do it quite often, is just a little bit of milk on top of the cookies. It just helps golden them up a little bit, and it also helps a small sprinkling of sugar stick, which I just tend to think finishes off cookies like this a little bit nicer. That's those cookies ready to go into the oven. It says to put them in for about 20 to 25 minutes, so I'll probably set a timer for around 15 minutes and check on them then, just to make sure that they aren't cooking too fast or too slow or anything. So I believe these cookies are ready now, so I'm just turning on the oven and I'm getting them out. They did definitely take closer to the 25-minute mark. But there they are. They have got a little bit of a nice crust to them, and they are golden brown, so I'm going to leave them out to cool and transfer them over to a cooling rack in a few minutes. So I'm just going to transfer them over onto our cooling rack. The tray is still quite warm, so I'm just using a little cloth to protect my hands. Okay, so they did rise, which I didn't expect them to do, to be fair, as there's no rising agent. I'm assuming they just expanded due to the grease level. Oh, and they did stick. Luckily, we follow the rule of how does it taste in this household. So as long as they taste all right, it doesn't really matter if they look bad. And these definitely look questionable. So I'll just cover them up while they cool. And given that I've got a few broken bits of cookies, I might as well give them a try. It's just giving a little bit of a try to one of the pieces that's broken off. I think I like them better than store-bought shortbread. I think they will be a little bit better once they cool off. So unfortunately I haven't got any test subjects currently, but I'll see about getting Mum and Dad to try one or two when they get home.
So as you can see, that's the gutter up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, and don't forget the links below for Instagram and Facebook. Bye.